When the topic of defense stocks comes up, Lockheed Martin is near the top of that conversation, right? It's been historically a very good performer. Over the last 5 years, it's only up 34%. However, the dividend is significantly higher than the S&P 500, roughly double at 2.5%. So that dividend needs to be factored in, and in this chart, it is not. And then we can also see over the last decade or so, late 2014, early 2015, it's up from about 200, right? So it's slightly underperforming the S&P 500. However, if you factor in the dividend, it probably is roughly performing that amount. And we can see that if we go all the way back to 2000, this is a stock that has historically done very, very well, right? Just slowed down a bit in recent years. I also like it. Well, one, I like the dividend. I think it's pretty solid. And even if it ran sideways for a while, at least you'd be getting that 2.5% dividend payout, right? Also, the PE is pretty cheap, at least compared to S&P 500 PE, which is at about 27, forward PE about 23. We can look down here. The PE is 19, forward PE is a little bit higher. But even then, we're significantly below S&P 500 forward PE, so it's nothing too crazy, right? I also like it as a diversification. Maybe you're really into defense stocks, right? That could be your thing. You know the industry. Nothing inherently wrong with that. For most people watching this video, I'm assuming you maybe own one or two or three, right? It's a good hedge, right? Because people always say, maybe doom and gloom, oh, World War III is coming around. I'm not discrediting all of that, right? But in the scenario something like that were to happen, or maybe not even World War III, but a large-scale war, Lockheed Martin is going to do well during that. And maybe it's not going to do incredibly well, but you will maintain some of the value in the stock with that, certainly. So there's diversification within it, right? Let's take a look at this PE historically. Yeah, we can see this dividend is clearly significantly outpacing inflation dramatically. I mean, 10% increase, 10% increase, 10%, 999,887. It's decreasing slightly, but it's still a lot. And you're expecting probably over the long term for this company to start deriving value to its shareholders through a dividend, right? So this dividend is probably going to increase over the long term. So it's good diversification and good growth. However, you'd probably look in half a decade, 5 years from now, probably going to have a higher dividend, maybe near that 3 to 3.5% range, right? So this may be something you look long-term towards a dividend portfolio, right? But like I said, nothing wrong inherently with having it as a value pick or, diversification or even hedge. This thing can be used in lots of different ways. Most stocks aren't this versatile. You can really only maybe have it for one or two, maybe growth, maybe dividend, maybe diversification, whatever it may be. Lockheed Martin certainly fits that, right? They fit a lot of different categories. So obviously, if you don't know much about Lockheed Martin, you can read through this or Google the company. I don't have time to go through all of their stuff. There's so much of it, aerospace and defense. There's just so many things. But like I said, I like it for all those different things. I don't think there's definitely competition in this space, but they do have a nice moat, at least in my opinion. We can see, where is it? Yeah, right here, wide economic moat code, according to Morningstar. I do not always agree with them. They had a thing where, I don't know, I just disagreed a couple videos back pretty significantly, but I do agree with them here. There's not a lot of huge mega players in this field. There's quite a few, and I know European defense stocks are pretty hot. People are expecting Europe to start spending more in defense. But, honestly, the United States is probably going to always spend quite a lot on defense. So I'm really not too worried about it. And probably, the world buys lots of stuff from us as well. And if you can't tell, the last couple years or so, there's not been any lack of wars, as unfortunate as that is. I'm just saying that makes Lockheed Martin more valuable, right? Schwab thinks it's going to do very well. They have it in the top 19% of all stocks performing over the next year, which sounds good, but that's actually a really, really good rating. Because even if you think about it, the 50 percentile, the average stock in every given year goes up, right? S&P 500, 10%. Maybe it's carried by the top a little bit, but even a 50 percentile rating isn't horrible. So top 19% of stocks performing over the next year is a very good rating from them. You can get some others, ratings mostly buys. We see a fairly high ESG score, whatever you think of that. Other key weighting issue scores. Let's take a look historically at what its PE is. Yeah, it's a little bit on the expensive side compared to where it was maybe a year and a half ago, when it was closer to 15, but it's not at the crazy highs either. And it's very weird to be considered 19 PE a crazy high, unless specific industries really have it in that, like a financial institution. We can see it is below where it was a couple months ago. at 21.20, so we're even a little bit below then too. But it's nothing crazy. It's within normal realms of PE, and a good number of analysts are saying buy. It looks like 10 of the 23. There's a few saying sell. That's a little bit strange. Usually they prefer underperform to sell, but there's a couple people that really do not like Lockheed Martin. And then there's quite a few in the middle, probably about half saying hold, which is fine. Analysts are just people, if you don't know, that just research a few companies and give their ratings. Oh, this is going to do well. I don't put too much stock into analysts personally. I think it's important to factor into the broader picture, but not something super important. But anyways, I appreciate all of you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, I'd appreciate if you left a like or subscribed. I've noticed when everyone subscribes on my channel, it really drives YouTube to recommend my content out to other people. So it really does help the channel out a lot if you enjoyed. But anyways, I appreciate all of you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.